What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super video. Today is the reveal for the Draft Box 3 leaders, and honestly, I commend Bandai for how different some of these leaders are, although two of them still have relatively the same attack leader draw card effect. All of their awakened abilities are pretty unique and make them all seem pretty viable in their own right. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Up first, we have our new Baby Vegeta leader. He's got both the Saiyan and the Machine trait, so right away you can use Unending Awakening without having to awaken him. And you also get the full advantage of being able to use Vow Revenge and Revenge Death Ball. When this card attacks a leader, draw a card. Pretty generic, but his activate main is a little unique. It says, once per turn, choose one card in your life, add it to your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards that loses 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So you can use that to self-awaken. You can also use that to KO all the one-drop attackers like Kaba, Trunks, and the Green Gohan. You can also use it to KO the free blockers. You could even use it in tandem with cards like Vow Revenge to get rid of even bigger cards that Vow Revenge or Revenge Death Ball couldn't get rid of on their own. He also gets the added benefit of being an untap on Awaken leader, which I think is a lot better than drawing, especially for cards like Revenge Death Ball. On the other side, we have Saiyan Power Baby. He's an infinitely better version of the current Baby leader that we have, and I feel like that Baby leader will be phased out completely. When this card attacks, draw one card. Activate main says choose one of your battle cards, and it loses 15,000 power for the duration of the turn. If you do so, choose up to two of your opponent's battle cards, and they both lose 10,000 for the duration of the turn. So you get to choose two targets instead of one to neg by 10,000, which means you could KO two different cards. Now, you do have to neg one of your own by 15 instead of 10, but if you have the right card out there and you've already swung with it, it's very easy to take advantage of this ability without having to forcefully KO one of your own battle cards, and honestly, I like it. I think this Baby Vegeta leader is much better than the Baby leader that we have, because he has a lot more... He's a little more viable, since he can KO multiple battle cards, and even on his unawakened side, he can awaken himself a little faster. So, all in all, I just think this is a much better leader for anyone who wants to play Baby. He's got the Saiyan and Machine Mutant trait on both sides, which is better than Baby as well. I just don't see the Baby leader at all being viable anymore. I do think that this Awakened side should have been the Vegeta in the yellow getup before he goes ape form, but hey, we can't win them all. Up next for Blue, we have Krillin, and I'm so sad that he is Saiyan Saga and he is not a Universe 7 leader. I was really banking on him being Universe 7, because why not? Like, why make him just an Earthling? There's no benefit to that at all. Earthlings have zero support in this game whatsoever. He is blue, though, so he's got that going for him. When this card attacks a leader, you can choose one card in your life and add it to your hand, and if you do so, draw a card. So he forcefully has to awaken himself in order to draw, but you do get the +2 from the draws. And then when your life is 4 or less, you choose one of your energy and switch it to active and flip this card over. Just one. I feel like it's kind of shitty for Krillin to only untap one when he awakens. Maybe that's to make up for how OP his awakened ability is, but at least he still gets to untap. I feel like that's still a little more useful than getting to draw 2 cards, although with his awakened ability you guys may disagree with me there, because awakened he becomes a better crit Vegeta from set 1, and here's why. When this card attacks, draw 1 card. At the end of your turn, draw 1 card. So he has a new auto that lets you draw at the end of your turn. So you're getting 2 draws just off of his abilities alone. And then once per turn, you can choose 1 card in your hand, place it in the drop area. He gains 5,000 power and critical for the duration of the turn. That is huge. So he's a 20k crit coming at you, and you get an extra bonus draw every turn. I don't know. I like that they did something like that. I like that they gave you a reason to consider playing Krillin so much, aside from the fact that he gets that auto and that crit, because crit early game doesn't matter as much as it does late game, I feel like. Just because, like, late game, sometimes you're really needing those extra cards, and if if the cards in your life are always getting critted away, then you're going to be limited on your options. Meanwhile, the Krillin player is getting an extra draw a turn just for ending their turn. I think that's pretty cool, and I like that they gave you another reason to want to play Krillin, besides the fact that he's a blue leader. Up next, we had Son Goku, and I was half right. He is Son Goku GT, although his era is that special era. I'm not really sure why the hell they bothered doing that, because the eras mean nothing, since no card in the game whatsoever has anything to do with what era they are. Hopefully we will eventually get some support that is actually affects that, whether or not they're Saiyan Saga, Frieza Saga, Cell Saga, whatever. When this card attacks a leader card, you can choose one card in your life, add it to your hand. If you do, draw a card. So pretty generic, kind of like the Krillin ability. When your life is at 4 or less, you can choose 2 energy, switch them to active, and awaken. This right here is a Goku leader that I could finally get excited to play. Full-size Power Son Goku. His permanent says when your opponent has 4 or more battle cards in play, this card's attacks can't be negated. So that's going to that's supposed to deter your opponent from trying to flood the board with battle cards, which would be bad for decks like Apes or Veggies in particular. When this card attacks, draw a card, and this card gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. And when this card attacks, if your opponent has 4 or more battle cards in play, this card gains quadruple strike for the duration of the turn. So not only does he hit for 4 damage, but his attacks can't be negated because of the permanent ability, which is pretty wild, because that right there can be a game changer immediately before your opponent even had a chance to awaken, if they're not, self-awakening themselves, which is a really big deal. Quad Strike is amazing, but at the same time, they have to have 4 or more battle cards in play, and this is a way to deter them from doing so, but this doesn't really do anything to actually hurt them too much, just because it's easy to play around. And there's no reason that your opponent wouldn't play around it unless they were just trying to go in for the kill, and then they failed to be able to take that last life card, and then you're set with a Goku that you just combo everything into and quad strike. Last but not least, the leader I was most excited for, we have Son Goten, and he is indeed Goku's lineage like I thought he would be. That is the one that was the most important to me to be right on. When this card attacks leader, draw 1 card, pretty generic. His activate main says, choose 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. Choose up to 1 yellow extra card from your deck and add it to your hand, and negate this skill for the duration of the game. This is a really good ability in the fact that there are so many good yellow extra cards that you can search from. The best ones that come to mind include Successor of Hope, Planet Vegeta, Flying Nimbus, Crusher Ball. I'm sure there are several others, even Instant Transmission. This is also a really useful skill, since you have to take a card in your life. It can help you self-awaken if your opponent is not willing to awaken you, and they're just kind of trying to stall you at 5 life, and you don't happen to run any other awakening cards in your deck, such as Instant Transmission, or No Opening Son Goku. So I feel like this leader would work really well for either Goku's lineage decks or even Great Apes if you wanted to try them, since you can search out your Planet Vegeta, assuming you don't get it on the very first turn that you play, and then the Planet Vegeta can search out whatever card you need, and it just kind of creates a cycle of being able to search out your deck and kind of thin it out a little bit to get extra card advantage. And then, unfortunately, he's another one of those leaders like Krillin that you only get to switch 1 energy to active mode when he awakens. That's kind of a bummer. 2 is a nice little medium, but I guess since Goten's ability already allows you to get free cards, they don't want you to get any more free energy than that. On the Awakened side, we have Staunch Striker Son Goten. When he attacks, draw 1 card. And at the beginning of your opponent's main phase, you can choose 1 card in your hand and place it in the drop area. If you do so, he gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, and you cannot use that skill for the duration of the game. So he's got a built-in Sensu Bean ability, similar to the Son Goku from Set 2, although his ability you can use, every turn, whereas Goten's is a one-and-done kind of deal. But Given that yellow has a lot of good counter abilities, including Nimbus, Crusher Ball, and Instant Transmission, there's a lot of ways to play around that, and then you can use Goten's ability as kind of a last-minute ditch effort to get that extra boost and, prevent the swarm of 2 and 3 drops from just punching his little face in. Those are the 4 leaders for our Draft Box 3, and honestly, I could not be more excited to play Draft Box leaders than I am right now. Every Draft Box that had like one leader I was interested in, like set 2 had the Bardock, the first one had like Gotenks, but this set actually has a lot of viable options. I feel like Baby, Krillin, the Goku, and the Goten all have unique abilities that make them really diverse and really playable, in my opinion. And I'm actually looking forward to building a deck around all of them. Let me know in the comments below which leaders you think might actually have a chance to push the limits on the meta and change this from an all-blue format. I realize Krillin is also a blue leader, but I feel like some of these other leaders have a lot of potential, and we could actually see a more diverse meta now that Super Saiyan 3 is temporarily banned. And hopefully once Set 5 comes out, all of the cards that they think will stop Super Saiyan 3 will actually work. And if not, maybe we'll get a permanent solution, and then leaders like these can actually do something in the competitive scene. But we're going to wrap this video up here. Make sure you hit that like button down below for us. We appreciate all the support. And we're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here now. So we'll see you guys in the next video.